I remember when I was a kid working with my dad back in the mid '70s. I was doing some work with him in a house, and up on one of the walls there was a framed QSL card of reception from Sputnik. It gave the date and the time and the frequency it was transmitting on. Now, let me explain to you what Sputnik was. Now, Sputnik was launched by the Soviets, by the Russians, back in the late 50s. I was maybe a few months old, maybe a year old when Sputnik was put in orbit. But it transmitted a shortwave signal, and if you had a shortwave radio, you could tune in on it. But a QSL card, now so I don't know if they still do this, but I remember when I was a kid, you listen to radio, and they say if you send us in information, give the date, the frequency, a little bit of the content of the broadcast. Like I heard you, I heard you on a certain frequency in the 40 meter band, or like around 6 megahertz, somewhere in there, maybe 9 megahertz, because a lot of shortwave stations were in those bands because they weren't used for other stuff. But you give the frequency you heard them on, the date, like I said, I heard you talking about your prime minister is going to advocate, or you're talking about, you got a severe sandstorm and some content of the broadcast. Sometimes they'd ask you to send a few, a buck or two to cover the postage and stuff, and they'd send you this card, give you that information. I never did. I was tempted to do it a bunch of times, but somehow I never did. But that's what a QSL card did. But it surprised me that there was one from Sputnik. I didn't know that they did that, until I saw that. But second thing I want to cover now. I seriously doubt those 2 Polizei officers. I'm suspecting they've gone back to Leipzig. They've probably given up only for Ute. But my understanding is that Ute teamed up. What I heard was she was a waitress at some type of restaurant serving some type of European or international cuisine over in Scottsdale. That she was working there as a waitress, but somehow she'd teamed up with some guy that was visiting here from Malaysia. That was a story that I heard. There were several different stories, but she had teamed up with him. She'd faked some type of passport or something, and she went back with him to Malaysia or some Pacific island where they don't have too many extradition treaties, that type of thing. That was what I was told. So you probably have lost track of her, and I think she's probably spent all that money she embezzled. That's what I think. But for you two guys, give up on Ute because she's long gone. She's just too slippery for you. I've told Ute. I haven't seen her for years, but I just hear by her antics about mutual friends. But who knows if I can trust them or not, because they might be lying to me too. But I don't want anything to do with Ute. But anyway, the third thing I want to cover here. I was watching on DW, Deutsche Welle. They've got, this stuff mostly on here on YouTube anymore, but they do have an English material here on YouTube. Just type DW, and you can get their YouTube stuff. But I think they've got a local broadcast that they present, in a homeland. But anyway, they had that debate of their 4 candidates running for chancellor. Of course, Olaf Scholz, their current chancellor, was on there, and that Friedrich Merz. The third guy, I don't, Harvick, something like that. But I was surprised the fourth person was Alice Vidal. I'm surprised that, from what I saw, because in German, they translated a little bit to English, but, for their, but I could get part of what they were saying. But anyway, I was surprised that they invited Alice Vidal to their debate. But they have publicly said that if any AFD, that's the alternative for Deutschland, if any AFD candidate was elected into parliament, the other parliament members would not work with them. That's kind of surprising that they had. I'm guessing they're figuring that a big chunk of their electorate are probably going to elect candidates to the, elect AFD candidates to their parliament. And what surprised me in the last election. The Green Party got a pretty good got a pretty good showing in their parliament, but the Green Party is not polling real well from what they're saying right now. And the Left Party is not polling real well. Seems like they've all gone hardcore right. I see signs, they'll cover these protests they got over there. Tagesschau and DW and some of the other ones will cover these protests, and you see like signs like Oma's gegen Recht, grandma's going right. You see the other people, and say, the other side say Nazis raus. They consider these AFD candidates Nazis. And to me, it seems like they're having a wild old time over there. I'd be curious to be in the middle of that, but I'm kind of glad I'm an American. I'm living over here. But anyway, for Alice Vidal, Ich lebe des Oma. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to call you Oma. Ich lebe des Frau. Bye-bye.